Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I transfer a drawing to canvas. Stick around. Okay, if you're like me, sometimes you work on paper and you want that drawing on your canvas, or you just don't like drawing on the canvas because of the way it feels. You want to be able to work out your details on paper first and basically get all the difficult areas figured out before you try to put it on canvas. Let's face it, drawing on paper is much easier than drawing on a canvas. To get this on canvas, I basically take tracing paper like this one. This is Canson brand. Been around for a long time. It's just basic tracing paper. There's 50 sheets in this pack. It's about $8, $7, something like that. So you lay this on your drawing, I'll share some video here, but basically you lay it on the drawing, take a Sharpie and trace over your drawing, and once you have the tracing done in Sharpie, now don't get too detailed with it because you're just going to be You're basically just setting up some lines to make this easy for you. You don't really need to get that detailed with it. Don't stress over making every line exactly the way your drawing is. It's just not important. Flip your tracing paper over and use some raw umber paint mixed with some thinner, and go back with like a number 6 filbert or something like that, and paint over your lines. And you have don't try to get the lines exactly right. Just kind of cover them up, overlapping the lines, coloring in some areas that you want to just color it in, whatever. And then stick that tracing paper with the wet paint on the back and your Sharpie drawing on the front. Tape it back to your canvas. Use a ballpoint pen and just draw over your black Sharpie lines. You're going to be able to see them pretty easy. That black really stands out against the raw umber. It's not like you're going to lose it in the shade. The shade's just, it's too far off. You're going to be able to tell. But again, don't spend too much time trying to get it exactly right. You're just trying to get all those edges, all those proportions in the same place that you had them on your drawing to some degree. As you're painting, you're going to be able to finesse those lines a little bit and kind of work your way through the details and your proportions and all that. But I would start with a drawing that you feel is proportionally correct. I wouldn't try to fix too much on your canvas. So once you have that done, it'll take about 8 hours to dry. I'd give it 24 hours, that way it's completely dry. When you come back at it, you've got a nice underdrawing that's done for you to work from, and you can start working on tightening that up if you want. You can work out some details if you want, but I typically go through the whole thing with raw umber and add some value and try to get the whole, try to cover up most of the white on the canvas itself. That way I can work on something that's a little bit more, I find working on a white canvas a little bit irritating to my eyes. It's just better to cover it up. I don't really know how to explain it. I just like working on something that's completely covered. For me, the next steps on this, getting this painting done based on this drawing, is I'm doing a grisaille painting, and you're probably wondering, well, why do you got these other colors out here? But I use raw umber, flake white, and ivory black. Okay? Now, I actually have 3 different brands of color here, 3 different brands of paint, because I like them. I like the Winsor & Newton raw umber. I dig it. It's a great color. It's a good mix. It's affordable, that sort of thing. But this makes up my warm grays, right? And then for my black, I use this by Royal Talons, this Rembrandt ivory black. I find this better than most of the other ivory blacks on the market. Definitely better than Winsor & Newton's Artist Oil Color version. It comes in a 150 milliliter tube. I think you can get it in a smaller 37 milliliter, possibly somewhere in that range. But I like this better. It's got less oil in it. It doesn't seem to be as runny. It's got a nice feel. So that's why I use it. I was watching some other videos on YouTube, and I noticed there were some other artists who really like this Williamsburg flake white. And I'm a fan of flake white, but I've never really liked Winsor & Newton's flake white. Every time I go to buy it, it just seems to be old. Like it's been in the tube too long, and maybe it has. Maybe that's the problem. But this Williamsburg has a nice feel to it. It doesn't feel old. It's not as stiff to me. It doesn't feel as stiff, and it does blend really well. So I use that for my flake white. I plan on working on this painting for a couple of weeks. I've got the cast model in my little shadow box type space on my shelf, so I can work from it and kind of work out the details. But I want to get a little bit more proficient at doing a grisaille painting. And the cool thing about this is I can do it again if I want, using the grisaille painting as reference, using this as reference, this charcoal drawing as reference, and I can trace this again over and over and over again and keep working from it, and maybe work out some other details, maybe start adding some color to it, trying to get it looking more like a real hand versus just a plaster cast or whatever. But all right, well, that's all I got. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hit that like button and go make a painting. Go make art. Go take pictures. Do something. Create. We'll see you next week. Later.